Alex Morgan wasn't looking for romance at the Gateway Station's social mixer. He'd come because his friend Tom insisted networking was important for his freelance software career. The mixed-species gathering included humans, Veylani, Crethians, and several other species, all mingling awkwardly, trying to bridge cultural divides through small talk. Alex found himself in a conversation about human dating customs with a group of curious Veylani, elegant beings with pointed ears, luminescent markings, and reputation for being intellectually rigorous. Why do humans make partnership formation so complicated? One asked. All the rules, the ambiguity, the games. Alex laughed. That's why I'm single, too much drama. I avoid the whole thing. It was self-deprecating humor. A throwaway comment. Meaningless. Except 3 Veylani women, who'd been standing nearby but not part of the conversation, immediately turned toward him with visible interest. They approached as a coordinated unit, their markings glowing curious gold. You declared availability publicly, the first one asked. She was tall, graceful, her markings forming elegant patterns. With confidence about managing complexity. I what? Alex blinked. I'm Sera, she continued, undeterred by his confusion. This is Lyra and Kira. We're intrigued by your declaration. The second woman, Lyra, shorter but with sharper features, studied him analytically. Your unattached and openly acknowledged preference for complexity over simplicity. That shows mature perspective. The third, Kira, with artistic markings in unusual patterns, added, we should discuss compatibility factors. What are your primary interests? How do you handle conflict? What's your position on group dynamics? Alex felt like he'd stumbled into a job interview. I'm sorry, what's happening? Tom appeared at his elbow, barely suppressing laughter. Alex, can I borrow you for a moment? He pulled Alex aside while the 3 Veylani women waited patiently. You just told 3 women you're confidently single and ready for complicated relationships, Tom whispered. In Veylani culture, that's basically a formal declaration of availability for courtship. I was joking. They don't know that. To them, publicly declaring you're single, especially with that phrasing about complexity, means you're seeking partners. Plural, Veylani practice polyamory, and making that declaration casually shows confidence. Plural, partners. Tom, I was making a self-deprecating joke. Well, congratulations. You've now got 3 interested Veylani women who think you just announced you're available and unbothered by relationship complexity. Good luck. Tom walked away, still laughing. Alex turned back to find Sera, Lyra, and Kira waiting expectantly. So, Sera said with a warm smile, shall we continue discussing compatibility? Alex tried to explain it was a misunderstanding, but cultural differences complicated everything. Saying he was joking sounded like rejecting them specifically, considered rude in Veylani culture, where interest should be honored respectfully. Saying he wasn't actually looking for a relationship contradicted what he just said publicly. The 3 women interpreted his confusion as charming awkwardness rather than genuine miscommunication. Human modesty is endearing, Lyra observed, her markings showing amusement. You make confident declaration, then retreat into shyness. Interesting dynamic. Over the following days, Sera, Lyra, and Kira began courting him according to Veylani customs. Sera brought him botanical samples from her research. Gifting in Veylani culture meant showing how you could enrich a partner's life. Lyra engaged him in debates about software architecture. Veylani courtship involved testing intellectual compatibility through respectful challenges. Kira invited him to art exhibitions, sharing experiences to assess emotional resonance. They coordinated perfectly among themselves, scheduling time with Alex, communicating about his preferences, ensuring none felt excluded or competitive. Alex found himself accidentally dating 3 alien women who'd formed a cohesive unit around pursuing him. And the terrifying thing, he was attracted to all 3. Sera was gentle, brilliant botanist whose passion for living systems was infectious. They talked for hours about how biological networks paralleled software architecture. Lyra was sharp engineer who challenged him intellectually, pushing him to defend his ideas while respecting his expertise. Their debates energized him. Kira was a creative artist who saw connections between seemingly unrelated concepts, helping him approach problems from new angles. Individually, each was fascinating. Together, they created dynamic that felt balanced, complementary. But this was all based on a misunderstanding. Eventually, he'd have to address it honestly. Tom kept offering unsolicited advice. Just enjoy it. Worst case, you get experience dating aliens. Best case, you find what you didn't know you were looking for. They think I deliberately declared myself available for polyamorous courtship. And you're single. They're interested. You're clearly interested. Where's the problem? The problem is it's based on false pretenses. Then clarify when you're ready. But maybe explore this first. You've been alone for 2 years by choice. Maybe the universe is telling you something. Alex wasn't sure the universe was that subtle. But he also couldn't deny he was enjoying their attention, the intellectual stimulation, the different perspectives, the fact that they genuinely seemed to like him for himself rather than what he could provide. Still, honesty mattered. After 2 weeks of this accidental courtship, Alex arranged to meet all three together in a private setting. He'd prepared a speech about misunderstandings, cultural differences, his genuine respect for them despite the confusion. Sera, Lyra, and Kira arrived together, their markings showing curiosity and warmth. I need to explain something, Alex started. That first night when I said I was single, it was a joke. In human culture, I was making fun of myself, not declaring availability for courtship. I didn't know about Veylani customs. This whole thing has been a misunderstanding. He expected anger, embarrassment, maybe hurt feelings. Instead, they laughed. Sera spoke first. We know. You what? We figured it out within 2 days, Lyra added. Your confusion was too genuine to be modesty. We researched human humor patterns and understood what happened. Then why? Kira smiled. Because we decided to pursue you anyway. Your accidental declaration brought you to our attention, but your response to the situation revealed your character. You were kind despite confusion, patient with our cultural differences, willing to engage even when overwhelmed. That's more important than your initial intent. Sera continued, we chose to court you deliberately. The question is, now that you know it's not based on misunderstanding, now that you know we're pursuing you with full awareness, would you consider actually dating us? Alex sat back, processing. You knew it was a mistake and kept going. Yes, because the mistake revealed something real, genuine compatibility, mutual attraction, complementary strengths. Lyra's markings glowed warm gold. So what do you say? Would you like to try this relationship, knowing we all choose it consciously? Alex looked at each of them. Sera's gentle warmth, Lyra's sharp intelligence, Kira's creative perception. The way they balanced each other, supported each other, made space for him without competition. I'm attracted to all three of you, he admitted. But I've never done polyamory. I don't know if I can navigate it successfully. We can teach you, Sera offered. We'll move at your pace, Lyra added. And communicate constantly, Kira finished. That's the foundation: honesty, openness, boundaries respected. Alex took a breath. Okay, let's try. But if I mess up, we'll tell you, they said in unison, then laughed. Relationship isn't about perfection, Sera said. It's about commitment to work through imperfection together. Alex felt something settle in his chest. Relief, excitement, nervousness all mixed together. Then yes, I want to try this with all of you. Their markings blazed happy gold simultaneously. 6 months later, Alex was in a committed relationship with Sera, Lyra, and Kira. It wasn't what he'd imagined for himself. He'd always assumed he'd eventually meet someone, singular, and build a traditional partnership. Instead, he had 3 partners who created something dynamic and balanced. Sera grounded him when anxiety spiraled, her calm presence helping him see perspective. Lyra challenged him intellectually, pushing him to grow professionally and personally. Kira helped him see things creatively, approaching problems from angles he'd never considered. They managed jealousy through constant communication, respected boundaries meticulously, celebrated each other's individual relationships with Alex while maintaining their own friendships. It required more conscious effort than traditional relationships. Schedules had to be coordinated, needs clearly articulated, emotions processed openly. But it worked, better than any relationship Alex had attempted before. At a gathering months later, a colleague asked how he'd ended up in a polyamorous relationship with 3 Veylani women. Alex told the story. I made a self-deprecating joke. They took it as formal courtship declaration. Cultural chaos ensued. Sera added, her markings glowing amused. He accidentally declared himself available using our customs. We decided to test if he was worth pursuing despite the misunderstanding. Lyra continued. He passed the test by being himself, confused but respectful, attracted but honest, willing to communicate even when uncomfortable. Kira finished. Sometimes the best relationships start with misunderstandings that force you to communicate clearly from the very beginning. No ambiguity, no games, just honest dialogue about intentions and feelings. Alex reflected on how his casual joke had led to the most unexpected and rewarding relationship of his life. Not despite the cultural confusion, but because navigating that confusion taught them all to communicate with clarity and care. Would you do it again? Someone asked. Knowing what you know now, would you make that joke? Alex looked at Sera, Lyra, and Kira. Their different personalities, their complementary strengths, the way they'd chosen him deliberately after his accidental declaration. Absolutely, he said. Best mistake I ever made. Wasn't a mistake, Sera corrected gently. Was opportunity disguised as accident. The universe has a sense of humor, Lyra added.